We'll now open the October 23rd, 2013 licensing hearing meeting. First order on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of September 18th, 2013. Is there a motion on the table to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion's approved. First application up is the Takara Eucalypto 2 Corporation. Okay, we'll table that for now. Casablanca Restaurant, doing business as Casablanca Restaurant, 91 Centennial.
Please come up to the podium.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
It's 91 Centennial Avenue.
I'm sorry, your name?
Nabeel Ammar.
Great. So it's our understanding that you're applying for a license to an entertainment license and also a changing of the hours
Yes,
from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m.?
10 to 10. Yes.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about the entertainment what you're planning to do? I'm sorry?
Put the mic on, please.
Oh, yeah, please put your mic on. Red?
Yep.
Yeah?
So we're gonna open like a new restaurant in 91. It was like exiting the restaurant there. We just rented. We're gonna do like Mediterranean food there.
Yeah, it's not. There you go.
Yeah, it's good. So we're gonna open like a new restaurant there. We just ran it was like exiting restaurant, but we're changing the name and we're changing hours. We're gonna do like Mediterranean food there.
So tell me a little bit about the entertainment that you're going to be doing. What are the hours?
Its hours is gonna be like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
For DJ and karaoke?
No, what's it's item 3, just like food.
Please put your mics on. I think it's him.
No, it's me. It was me that time.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. So tell me exactly what you're going to be doing.
We're gonna do like the restaurant, like take out food, like Mediterranean food, kebab, some pizza.
Okay. And are you going to be doing all the cooking on the establishment? And
Yes,
You are.
everything's there.
okay. And you have all your approvals from
Yes.
the licensing?
5 minutes. Like,
The one thing that we don't see on here is seating capacity.
I don't
And
know that he applied for seating.
is it takeout only? Excuse me. Is it takeout only? Is it takeout only?
no, it's sitting too.
It is seating.
Yeah.
Seating.
Few
Okay.
tables, it's just
And how many people do you anticipate for seating?
for sitting, like 20.
20?
Yeah.
I don't currently see a floor plan here, which to me is it's difficult to be able to vote on this issue based on the fact that, I don't know how many seats you're going to have. There hasn't been a plan submitted.
But he hasn't applied, but he's only applied for common fish though. He never applied for seating. It's supposed to be advertised.
I think what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to come back and come back with a seating plan. Although you have the sign-offs, it's difficult for us to make a decision based on no seating plan. And I recognize that some of the services, the inspectional services have signed off on it, but we just don't have enough information.
Okay.
So if you could come back,
Even if before it was like 10 tables there for like the owner for this restaurant before have like 10 tables by 4, so it was 40 chairs, and we are going to reduce it to 20. And that time like drop floor plan.
we just don't have, it's not in the application, it's not clear to us. I mean, it's hard, it'd be hard for us to make a decision based on what you're telling us, and then, you know, if we approve the license and then we go out there and there's, you know, 35 chairs out there, and I'm not saying that would be the case here, but it's difficult for us to make that decision.
Okay, so what I have to do?
So you should come back with a floor plan of the restaurant, and let us know what you're going to be, because you haven't applied for seating. You've applied for a common victuals license, but you haven't applied for any seating, so we don't really have, you're going to need to fill in those blanks for us in order for us to vote on it.
Okay.
There's some bills due as well? Is that what we see?
No.
Is that something else? Oh, that was all taken, oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not opposed, obviously, to you, you know, having a restaurant in the city. We just need more information. Okay, so if you could come back to us with a floor plan, that'd be great.
I'd just like to
And-
ask a question, if I may. Just before you leave, has this been, is this currently licensed, or was someone there before you, or is this a brand-new common victual?
If someone was there.
Someone was already
Yeah.
there, and they had the seating?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if you can let us know what his seating was, and put it on the application, apply for seating. And I see you don't have any parking, so that's a concern how many seats you would be allowed to have there.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Did Commissioner?
No, it's not. Item number 4 is the Revere Lodge Oil Order of Moose, 470 Broadway. Please state your name for the record and address, please.
It's Wesley Clemens. Oh, Jesus, I guess it was working.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Great. So, so you're now applying for a change of manager?
Manager, yes.
Okay. And you're going to assume those responsibilities?
Yes,
And you've done that in the past,
yes.
obviously, okay. Any questions from the?
I don't have any.
Everything as usual, we're going to,
Same as status quo.
the
Everything's
same. And you were the manager?
I was the administrator. I still am the administrator. So I'll be doing the administrative and bar manager. I'm doing
Okay.
that now.
And what will your hours be as manager there?
The hours vary, but I'm there about 8:30, 9 a.m. every day till around 5. I come back, you know. I'm mostly there all the time.
Okay, so you will
Yeah.
be overseeing the daily operations?
Yeah, I oversee the operation of the lodge.
Okay, in closing, are you there at closing time also?
We have a 2 a.m. license, so we're closing on the weekends at 2, and we're now preparing to close during the weekdays at 2. We're setting up the alarm system.
Okay, I guess maybe I didn't word that right. Are you going to be there when they close? Will you be
No, I won't
the
be there when
closing
they close.
manager?
No, not every day, no.
No.
That's what we're setting up now with the alarm company and the bartenders
Okay.
to get the alarms set before they leave.
Okay, how
And
long?
we get a time sheet from the alarm company, tells us the times the place was closed. So I know the exact time that we're closed.
Not so much, I mean, I'm not so much
I'm not worried about
concerned
the
about that,
time.
exactly. I'm more
Oh.
concerned about who's going to be managing the establishment at those times of
Well,
closing.
the bartenders and so, I guess they'll be watching over the place, I mean, at the
And
time.
do they have they any type of training that
All our bartenders are tip certified and trained. Yeah, I think every place has bartenders that close up their restaurants and stuff.
you'll also have oversight on parties when the lodge is
Oh, absolutely.
leased out. and-
Absolutely. I have an assistant bar manager that's there most of the time as well.
Okay.
Okay, I have no other questions.
I don't have any questions.
No, no question.
Is there a motion on the table?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 5 is 388 Broadway LLC, doing business as Volari Restaurant. Would you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Cecilia Maya, the address is 388 Broadway in Revere.
Great, thank you. And you have an application in for a one-day entertainment license from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. What type of entertainment are you planning?
It's a 5-men, it's a group. They're going to do a cappella, no instruments, and I think they're only going to use a mic, and that's it.
Okay. And what would you anticipate in the way of patronage? Any idea how many people you expect?
No, I'd lie to you if I gave you a number. No, we're hoping that we have a good outcome, but no, because it's a weeknight and we're celebrating our first year in business, so I don't know, we'll see.
Okay. So it is open, obviously open to the public. It's not a private.
Oh, yes, no, it's open to the public, yes.
Great. I don't have any questions.
I have no questions.
No.
Is there a motion on the table?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The license has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6, St. Mary's of the Assumption Church. Please state your name and address.
My name
for
is
the record.
Torrey DeFrancisco. I preside at 550 Washington Ave, Revere, Mass. And I'm representing St. Mary's at 670 Washington Ave.
Great. And can you tell me what your one-day event will be?
The event is going to be held on November 16th, 2013.
Okay. And this one-day event is for?
It's a one-day event. It's on a Saturday. It's for the parishioners. We're having a spaghetti supper.
Oh.
And we're requesting a one-day license.
Great. I don't have any
No
questions.
questions.
No, it's a great time. I've been to them, and it's
Yes,
a
we've
nice
had it-
event for St. Mary's Church.
Yes, we've had it for about 25 years at least,
Yes.
continuous.
And of course, we, again, know how to handle the alcohol and the,
Yes, I'll be in charge of the alcohol.
You'll be in charge
Yes,
of
it's
the
beer and
alcohol.
wine only.
okay. Now, is this for families or is it,
Yeah, it's for the parishioners, the family, yes.
and the families, right? So we'll have an adult there at the bar at all times?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll have that application up on the wall signifying that we do have the permit and the age of the individuals who will be served.
Okay. I know it's a great event. I'm not concerned about it at all.
We've never had any problems at all our events down here. We make sure of that.
Great. Excellent. Any other questions?
No,
No.
it's Sal Tunulo there. I'm comfortable.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 The license
Thank
is
you.
approved. Thank you. Item number 7 is Rosie Cooper, doing business as Revere Psychic Studio. Hi.
That's Rosie. She's my mom, but she can't stand.
Okay.
So I'm going to speak for her.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Mary Cooper. The address is 209 Squire Road, room 20.
Great. And you're currently at American Legion Highway?
No, we moved from there.
You have?
Yes, we have. We're not in there anymore.
Okay. And you
They sold the building.
okay. So you're at now 209 Square?
209 Squire,
Great.
room 20.
And now, in terms of how you've been operating at American Legion Highway, is
Same terms.
Not same times, nothing
Nothing's
changes?
changed, no.
Okay. Any other questions?
What are your hours?
I'm open now from 10 to 11 every day.
10 to 11?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm thinking of switching to 10 to 10. That's the only thing I'm thinking of switching up.
Okay, and this location, this is near Charger Street, is that the,
No, Squire Road. You know where the Pro Nail Salon is on Squire? The Lenny's Barber, the big black and red place.
Yeah.
right, so
I'm
that,
right on top of Pro Nail.
you're going to be upstairs?
Upstairs, yes.
Okay, so that would be at the corner of Charger and Squire Road?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Okay, yeah, I was just trying to,
You're right.
okay, I have no other questions.
Who sold the building, or who sold the building?
Louis Colangelo, the owner of the building, got very ill and he's in a nursing home. So Mass Health took it over and sold it and gave us like a month's notice to get out, not even.
So you do like card reading?
I do palm readings, card readings. Yeah.
Really? Good time.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the move? We all set?
I'm sorry. Any other
Oh,
questions?
is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make a
No, I
motion.
have no question.
you are.
He's making a motion.
Unless you have more questions, I'm sorry.
No, I have no questions. I would gladly second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Oh, did you ask for proponents?
do I
Was
need
there any
anything else, or
proponents?
am I free to go?
No.
Oh, that's the next one.
Oh, you're all set, just don't put a hex on us, so.
Never.
I'd love to ask about their business.
Do yourself a favor.
You know, how, I think it's a great thing to do. All right.
99 West LLC doing business as the 99 Restaurant. Application for transfer of stock. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. Joe Devlin from the Demarcus Law Offices in Lynn, Massachusetts, and I represent 99 West LLC. If the board wants me, I can summarize why we're here.
If you would.
I have to jog my memory a tiny bit. This is a statewide and actually national transaction that took place last year. There's 61 99s in Massachusetts. There's 342 locations that were owned by the same company across 26 different states. That publicly traded company got bought by a bigger publicly traded company, and due to the size of the transaction and the number of states and locations involved, we were allowed to go to the ABCC first to get their approval, and then we spent August, September, October, and then it bled into November going to the different communities and some going back to some of the communities. The ABCC letter was not clear. It just said all you have to do is send the Form 43 back to us. So a lot of communities didn't send in the advertisement, and some communities didn't do the advertisement, more than some. We had a list that we followed up with, and we thought this was done. Interestingly enough, about the beginning of this summer, we get a call that 2 locations out of the 61 were missing DOR clearance. I'm not sure how, because it's all there's about half and half, 2 of the same entities, which were cleared, but we could clear it up with the Department of Revenue Certificate of Good Standing now, which we did. But as somebody was putting that Certificate of Good Standing back into the file, they noted that there was an ad missing in Revere. I think Joan has retired. You know, it pained me to find that out when we called, and I'm sure.
Well, we have Maggie now. So.
Yeah, I'm sure Maggie is going to fill in, but so you know, I'm not. I think we decided the easiest way was just to come back and do this again. It was a $225 million transaction, and the ultimate. Maggie had suggested we could send the manager, but the problem is the managers didn't know nothing's changing at the location, so the managers most of them weren't even aware this was happening. Mm-hmm. So, but bottom line is nobody would have noticed that there was a change. You did hold a hearing on this, I think, in September.
You did.
So it was the people there and the people today probably know that this happened.
Okay. So, so subsequently, the advertisement went out? Is that? What took
Yes.
place? Okay. And so you're back before us?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. I don't have any other questions.
I don't have any questions.
Are there any opponents that want to speak on behalf of this issue? Any proponents? Hearing and seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve.
A second motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See all.
I don't know if he knows the camera's not on, so I'll ask to talk.
Sons of Italy LLC doing business as Sons of Revere LLC doing business as Sons of Revere. Okay, we will table that. Takara Eucalyptus? No, yes? Please step up. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Los Santos. The address is 107 Sugar Drive.
Thank you. And you are applying for an entertainment license?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about what you're planning to do? I see a DJ and karaoke. Can you tell me a little bit about, what type of music? Who are you trying to draw in? How long? What are your hours going to be? Those kinds of things.
The DJ is like, I applied for the standing hours also.
Yeah, I understand. We'll get to that one next.
So we just try to do that in weekends, like Thursday.
So on weekends?
Saturday.
Okay, so why don't I take these two together, just because you lead me to believe that they'll be hand in hand. So, you want to extend your hours as well. So, when you're planning to bring in this DJ and entertainment, are you planning to do that on the weekends until 2 a.m. or are you looking to do it? What are your hours?
So if the hours, they approve the hours, 9 to 1.
Okay, great. So you're going to have somebody come in with DJ, do music until about 1 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay, and this is only going to be on Saturdays and Sundays?
Yeah.
Friday, Saturdays?
Thursday to Saturday.
Thursday through Saturday, okay. Okay. And what do you plan on doing with security?
If we don't have much business, but if we see that we're gonna have one security.
Okay.
If we have, a lot of people coming, we're gonna put 2 security.
Okay.
One outside, one inside.
Okay, so you haven't experienced any issues, any problems at the restaurant
No.
today?
No.
Okay. I don't have any questions on that.
I just have one question. First of all, if this was approved, I would like it on record as being the music would stop at 1 o'clock. That would be what I don't know how my other commissioners feel. The other concern I have is amplifiers. This is a very small building.
We
Why?
have the minimum one because that place is small, so it's not big. So we're not gonna use like big speakers, big amplifier. Just try to listen.
To make sure everyone can hear.
Yeah, inside.
The
no
problem,
outside.
the problem with amplifiers is to say it's okay to go ahead and have amplifiers, we really can't say the size of it. So it always concerns me about saying amplifiers where it's a small business. I understand you have a jukebox, karaoke, they come in with their own equipment. So I don't really see you needing amplifiers in there to amplify the music. And when you talk your location, 107, you're right in the middle of the neighborhood.
Yeah,
So
but we want the music is not gonna be listened outside.
well, I know it wouldn't if you didn't have amplifiers. I'm sure you would contain it to your building. But when we add amplifiers, that's what it does. And it amplifies the music and I am concerned for the residents there. And I think most that you have here, when you say instrumental music, what kind of pieces are you planning on having instrumental?
Like I don't, maybe they confuse, like CD players, like,
I mean, you're not talking bands, having bands come in?
no bands.
This box, there's no amplifiers checked.
So you're just doing regular
No,
PA
he said
systems?
amplifier.
Oh, amplifier.
You sure?
So you're just talking about PA systems that you would use for like a stereo system and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he used the word amplifiers, that
Okay.
they will be small amplifiers, that's what was my concern.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
know what an
here.
amplifier is, right?
Yeah, the amplifier, I think,
It's a
is
speaker, it's a
so it's
loudspeaker, yeah.
It's not gonna be, because I'm not looking for problems.
Right,
So I know if I bend the rules, I don't have a problem. I'm not looking for that.
Because you didn't check off amplifier, that's why. On the application, it's not checked
Oh,
off.
it's not,
but
So,
he's asking for it, that's why my
oh,
question.
he is
Yes.
asking for, oh, I'm sorry.
But I think what I'm trying to get to, I think what you have here, what you're applying for, is adequate for the space that you have. Omitting the word amplifier, okay? Because as you said, these pieces, I believe karaoke comes with their own.
Yeah, they can have their own PA systems.
Right, so you would just, karaoke would cover that without using that word amplifier. Okay, so maybe
Yes.
that isn't what you're asking for. You want karaoke and the instruments, I still don't know.
They use something like
Have
this,
instruments,
so we can use the same speakers we have now for the box.
For the jukebox, sure.
Yes, we can use the same speakers, and we never have problems before.
That's fine.
The speakers
Right.
we have.
I have no problem with that. It's just bringing up the idea of having speakers. I always am concerned, especially in a highly residential area, which that is.
Okay, so, any other questions on the issue of entertainment?
Like, yeah, so on the, you said security. What do you mean by security? That's a very vague, broad term. Give me an example of what security you would have.
like, they have like the company, they have like security they use for the bars when there's a lot of business.
Gotcha.
So that kind of,
Okay, so you would hire a third-party security company would send someone down?
yeah.
Gotcha. And what do you anticipate the type of clientele coming in? Is it a younger crowd, middle-aged, older crowd? Typically, what type of clients will come into your restaurant and establishment?
It's open for everybody, but we have like all the time, so it's not specific for one.
Okay,
And you've never had any issues there or problems anywhere at this point?
okay.
We never have complaints for the local food and nothing.
Okay, great.
All right.
Any other questions on the issue of entertainment?
No,
Okay.
I
Are
don't.
there any opponents that want to speak on behalf of this issue? Hearing and seeing none, are there any proponents? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close both sides of that. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second to that?
I would second that motion, and just saying that music would stop at 1 o'clock. It would not go after 1 o'clock. Okay?
Yeah, I'll second the motion as well.
Okay.
Since
So the motion is on the table now that,
To amend your motion
I'll amend my motion to approve based on a 1 a.m. closing.
music closing.
Music closing, yes.
The music.
Shutting down the music at 1 a.m.
I think that's a good time, people can start to pay and we're ready to close.
Okay.
Right.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's been approved. Okay, so now on the issue of the 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. closing. Okay. So tell me a little bit about what you're going to do in the way of security and at closing time. You know, what's going to take place? Are there going to be people inside the club making sure that people get out safely same outside when they're leaving the establishment, making sure that they leave safely once they're out of the establishment. Can you tell me a little bit about that, what you plan to do?
Like, I hope I never have, like, wrong people. If I have like, I see somebody is like drunk, so we're gonna be in charge to call the taxi to send them home. That way, that's gonna be safe for him and for the neighborhood. It's gonna be safe.
Now, are you gonna be there at closing?
Yes.
You will be? Okay.
I guess I would just like to point out just one thing. You want to go from 1 to 2 o'clock, which is basically another 2 months. You will have to pay for a full year license for that. If you do it now, or you can wait the 2 months, come up and apply for January's license, but you will have to pay a full year. Right. And they will have to do it again in June. So it will cost $200 for the rest of the year.
No, it's okay.
Okay, as long as you know that. What else will we talk? That's all I want to say.
Any other questions?
No, as long as the music stops at 1 and people are out of there by 2, no lingering around, hanging around, so I'm good.
Great. Is there a motion on the table?
Motion to approve the 2 o'clock closing extension.
I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
I would like to be recorded as being opposed.
Aye.
2-1. Your license has been approved. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
When we allowed to close to
Immediate.
media? Okay.
Yep.
Tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sons of Italy LLC, Sons of Revere LLC, doing business as Sons of Revere. Hearing and seeing no one, we'll move on to the show cause hearing for MFRP Corp. doing business as the Squire, 604 Squire Road. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
How you doing? I'm Rob DePizer. I'm one of the officers of MFRP 604 Squire Road, doing business as the Squire Lounge.
We've asked you up here, Mr. DePiza, to answer some of the questions of recent incidents that have taken place at the establishment. And I recognize that those things could happen in any establishment. And I also recognize that, you know, we went from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. with your establishment. Having said that, to me, it's a bigger issue than just 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. at this point. We have received multiple arrest reports from the city of, the Revere Police Department. Some of them involve altercations. One specifically is underage person at the establishment coming out of there intoxicated. Can you address some of the issues as to why this is taking place?
Do you want me to address one at a time? Or
Sure, that would be
okay.
great if you would.
I was actually the manager on duty in all three situations. The first altercation was 3 gentlemen who were in the club that actually knew each other, and from what I found out afterwards.
Was that on the 17th?
That was on September 13th.
Okay, I'm sorry, continue.
There was 3 gentlemen that knew each other, and somehow they heated an argument in between them, and it turned into a fist fight between 2 of them. We escorted them out. When we escorted them out, they continued the fight outside in the parking lot. That's when we called the police department. One of the gentlemen, actually, if you go and research the police report, he was acting very strange. He was challenging fights to the police officers. He was a little out of control. Unfortunately, we didn't see that happening. There were 3 gentlemen that knew each other. And once it did happen, I do have 5 security staff on, plus we also have a police detail that we bring on as well.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, finish your thought.
No, after that altercation, I think it was about 2 weeks later, we started with police details, because we do realize that when you're open later, sometimes you get an element that is a little tough to deal with, so we try to deter that, so that's why we went on with the police detail. That's with the first situation. On the second situation, it was very thrown back as far as under 21. I actually did a little bit of research, and I talked to the detail officer and the arresting officer, Officer McCaskill, and that gentleman did come in with a valid ID. When he was arrested, he had 2 IDs on him. It's not in this police report, but both the officers, the detail officer as well as Officer McCaskill, will talk to anyone about that, because we're very, very, very strict at the door. Like I said, I have 5 people that work for us, and plus the detail officer standing at the door. I would never allow a under 21 in knowingly, and that's why I was very surprised at the situation. And when we found out, we had actually put him in a cab, which we working with Yellow Cab, Yellow Taxi, I believe. They have 2 cars parked in our parking lot every night after 1 o'clock, so that we can, if someone is, I feel, a little intoxicated, we get them in the cab and we get them home. He was in the cab. Cab had driven away. Cab stopped. That gentleman got out and proceeded to come after one of our bouncers. That's when he was arrested in the parking lot. As I said, he had two IDs on him, valid, and then when he was arrested, he obviously gave the other ID. As far as the third incident, it was a Monday night. It was 10 o'clock. 2 gentlemen were asked to leave the club. 15 minutes later, my front window gets broken. Customer comes in and says, "Just so you know, it wasn't me, it was those 2 guys. They were in my parking lot, kicking the picket fence." A gentleman, I mean, at that point we weren't calling them gentlemen, asking them to leave. They didn't. We called the police department ourselves. They actually arrested those 2 gentlemen in the Stop and Shop parking lot. And they actually resisted arrest, and one of the officers had to pepper spray him to subdue him. So we did what we could as far as leaving and working with the police department to get them out. Unfortunately, they did result in arrest, and the gentlemen were in that situation.
So tell me, now I recognize that you had hired a detail from the police department. However, even after you hired the police officer, you had 2 additional events. So tell me what you're going to be doing to mitigate a lot of the problems that you have. I mean, are these people coming in intoxicated, or are they just leaving intoxicated?
No, you know what? It's unfortunately, I know there's 3 arrests in a 6-week span. We do watch where my staff is tip certified. Does someone get by you that has had a little too much to drink? Absolutely. And we try to deter that. And when we do realize that they have been overserved or they were intoxicated to begin with, we do try to do the best we can to get them into a cab and get them out of the building.
I mean, I'm just concerned because I look back and I see these 3 incidents, one with earlier in the year, prior to the change in time. The change in time, to me, is it's an issue. But the bigger issue for me is that you've had all these issues, and I help me to understand how how you're going to take the necessary steps to eliminate those problems. Because what I don't want to have happen is this thing continually escalate, and before you know it, you've got something serious happening.
Oh, correct, and that is exactly why we went the route. I mean, we have a outside security company that has actually trained all of our staff. We've also, like I said...
Is that since
No, this has been several months back, SNS Security. And all our staff is tip certified, so we try to do all the necessary procedures to stop that from happening. And, unfortunately, like in any other establishment, a situation does happen here and there. And they did result in arrest. I believe they resulted in arrest because I do have a police detail there that's there ready to handle the situation, as opposed to if it happened without a police detail there, they probably would have taken off.
So, real quick.
Yes,
so
sir.
You said on the first event you hired a detail.
No, on the first event, we did not have a detail. After that situation that had happened.
Oh, I'm sorry, after that event. But
Yeah.
then on the second or third event, you said you called the police, but if there was a detail, wouldn't they be there?
It was a Monday night. We only have a police detail a couple nights a week.
Okay, so
On the
weekends.
busiest, there was,
Gotcha.
in fairness, there was 9 people in our establishment
Gotcha.
at 10 o'clock on a Monday night.
Okay,
So these two gentlemen had come in about a half an hour, 45 minutes earlier. When we realized that, gentlemen, you have to leave, they had no car, they were walking. 15 minutes later, I guess they lived in the area. They came back and smashed our front window. At that point, I had to call the police.
So while they were in the establishment, my guess is they came in not intoxicated, got intoxicated there and left.
Well, they were only in there a short time. They were kind of belligerent to a couple of our entertainers, and that's when myself and my security had asked them to leave.
What time did they enter the establishment?
I'm sorry?
What time did they enter the establishment?
Probably about 9:30.
So they couldn't have, I mean,
They were only in there maybe an hour and a half.
so they probably weren't.
Well, I'll tell you right now, when it's a slow night like that and I'm looking around and I'm like, and there's no one in the place, I'm looking around and I know that people aren't being overserved because they're just sitting there with the one beer and,
Yeah.
they weren't, I think they were just gentlemen, that, I didn't realize that they were intoxicated when they left, but.
So I was wondering how intoxicated, where did they get intoxicated? Within an hour, you'd have to really pound down some serious.
Correct, and I know they didn't because I know what kind of money they spent.
Yeah.
And that's my concern.
And I
is
understand
that-
where you're coming from.
Yeah.
That's my
Are we allowing people to walk in that are already intoxicated?
Exactly.
We try to do the best we can. We're very, very strict as far as when we see someone, but sometimes a person can walk in, have had a few drinks, and you don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do realize it, one of our other staff members, at that point, we tried to handle it accordingly.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that they weren't over certain. You've made that
Correct.
point. You made the point
Correct.
because the bartenders or servers should know.
Yeah,
someone's
especially when
stopping.
it's that slow.
Correct.
I always say it on a Monday or Tuesday, it's when the stuff happens when there's nobody in the building, and unfortunately, that's what happened.
Gotcha.
Any other questions?
I have no other questions, it's just that for the times that you have come up here, I think I've always heard that you had everything under control and they were all trained to know if people have had too many or have come in maybe a little tipsy. Security, I've always heard that you had metal detectors. Going back years ago, I remember them complaining how much it cost to put these metal detectors in. And also, I've questioned you before, and it's always been we've got 2 and 3 security out in the parking lot. So I don't know how it gets that far out of control where arrests have to happen at the establishment if everything is in place that you have told us over the years.
Well, we're the new owners over the last 2 years. But on a situation as far as hiring and putting people in the parking lot, the police department has never required us to have our own security in the parking lot.
No, that wasn't, and you're correct. I know
And one of the situations is we're trying to do the right thing as far as notifying the police when something like that happens so that it doesn't result into a bigger situation. So we're the first ones to make a phone call to the police, when it's a public safety situation.
And how was it that someone underage, are we checking the IDs?
I just explained. If you talk to Officer McCaskill, he was the arresting officer. That gentleman had 2 IDs on him, 2 valid Massachusetts IDs.
Was he asked to, did he show one of
No.
them
When
to
he
you?
came into our establishment, there was 1 ID showed, and he was of age. That's what we found out. I didn't find out till I received this letter from the board that the gentleman was arrested underage. So that's when I did my homework, and I said, it's virtually impossible to get by my staff. We train on this all the time. We don't allow that, and that's why it came to me. So then I did my homework, and if you speak with the arresting officer as well as the detail officer, they'll explain the whole situation. The gentleman had 2 IDs in his pocket. So that does happen. Unfortunately, there are people always trying to pass off fake IDs. And we're we don't allow out-of-country IDs, which we get a lot of that in our neighborhood. We're very, very strict as far as standards, who we allow in the establishment.
Sure. So I'm going to ask Officer Randall a question. From your understanding of the cases and the events, do you think, from your opinion, they handled the situations appropriately? Because you would know best.
Well, they called the police, which is, and in some of the instances, the police officer was there on detail. And I mean,
could they have done anything different?
That's
could they have done anything
but
different?
the thing that concerns me is a pattern that seems to have developed over the years. I pulled the last 3 years of calls for service to the establishment, and they've steadily gone up from 5 calls of service in 2011 to 11 calls for service in 2012 to 18 calls for service in 2013. We had 1 arrest in 2011, 1 person placed in protective custody in 2012. In 2013, we've had 4 parties placed in protective custody and 6 parties arrested since September. So there seems to be a trend.
Yeah. Yeah, because my concern is you can only do so much. And as the people are people, they're gonna get out of hand. You do all the right things. So, but this trend is a little. I'm sure it bothers them for you as well.
Oh, correct.
This trend.
Absolutely.
So, what's causing this trend is the question, I guess. Is it just coincidental, or is it something we can do?
Well, I know that when we took it over 2 years ago, that obviously we've increased the business dramatically from when they had it. Okay. And I know that when you have 200 people in there on a Friday night and a Saturday night, more business does create, more situations that happen. I don't take any case, lightly. I try to do the best I can. But in the same token, I don't want to not call the police department to take care of an altercation that's in the parking lot.
Of course.
And also, if some of those situations that the police have been called to sometimes the location of our parking lot is a cut-through. There's a lot of gentlemen, park in our parking lot and do stuff that they're not supposed to do. And sometimes the police officers pull right up and they follow someone in there. So when there's an arrest in the parking lot at the Squire, it looks like, and sometimes they weren't even a customer of ours. I know that there was a gentleman arrested in our parking lot several months ago, and he never even stepped into our building, but the police were watching him and they followed him right into the parking lot. But the arrest came back as arrested at the Squire. Unfortunately, I can't prevent that. I try to do the best we can at the front door. We do employ adequate, proper staff. We are working with the police department for the busier nights to try to eliminate the problems that happen. And like I said, in the first case where there's 3 friends, starting an issue with each other, and that turned out to be a pretty big issue and a fight and everything like that.
So
I understand what you're saying as far as when you have the crowds. You have 200, maybe you have more sometimes, I don't know. But what we're talking about right now is 9 people in the establishment. It wasn't 200, it was 9.
Yeah, how do you
well, I'm just saying,
you escort the gentleman out when they're being, rude and their behavior is rude, and you walk them out. 15 minutes later, because they live around the corner, they walk back and they smash your window. At that point, what do you do?
Right. Well, I'm just saying it doesn't always because you have 200 people.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Usually the issues in any establishment happen on the strange night, the nights when there's nobody in the place, and that's usually the issues, unfortunately.
So most of these incidences happening in the parking lot, you're getting called. You're not going into the establishment, correct?
No.
Officer Randall?
No, we've had both.
What do you say, 50-50?
No, more as in most things, it takes place in the parking lot, because usually by the time we arrive, the doormen have moved it out. That's any bar that has a parking lot. It's usually that's the case.
So in most cases, you go to the parking lot and deal with it versus going in the facility because they moved it out of there.
Correct.
So you got to kind of try to isolate where the issues are and work it from there, because human beings are.
So do you have security in the parking lot? Do you anticipate doing any?
I don't have any security in the parking lot because I was, told that, we didn't have to have that. Do I anticipate that?
I understand you.
No, it's not about that, and it's not even about a dollar savings. I'm looking to run the place properly. At what point, do we put security in the parking lot and, something doesn't happen where like I said, it's a cut through. They're using our parking lot at a set of lights. They drive through it. They drive through the Hess parking lot, and it's a cut through.
I understand, but what I'm looking at is I'm looking at multiple incidents. I'm looking at occurrences taking place in the establishment, taking place outside the establishment in the parking lot. I think, like I said to you, I was a big proponent of 2 a.m.
Yes.
I want people to prosper in the city, but I'm also really sensitive to the fact that, I can understand you have an incident. When you have multiple incidents, I'm trying to figure out what you can do to eliminate that problem, because quite honestly, I'm thinking about going back to 1 a.m. And like I said, I was one of the biggest proponents on that. So, help me to understand what you're trying to do to mitigate those problems and eliminate that trend, because it's clearly a trend.
I feel, obviously the last 5 weeks that it's happened, unfortunately they're separate incidents.
They are.
More business that you do produce in an establishment, situations do arise. Since, 2008 when it was only 1 o'clock, I don't know if it's necessarily a 2 o'clock situation, or is it when we, removed them from the building. If we were removing them at 1:15, the situation might have been the same.
No, I understand that, but I'm thinking to myself that if I had an establishment and you're escorting people out of a building, they're not happy.
Correct.
So theoretically, people are going to be unhappy in the parking lots, and you're going to have problems out there. And I'm just wondering what you're going to do to deal with that.
I guess my question would be, as far as, on one of those occasions, we walked out with the gentleman, put him in a taxi cab with the police officer detail there. He got out of the cab and came in. There was nothing we could do in that situation. We did everything that we could as far as to get him in a cab and to get him out and go home with the police officer there, and it didn't bother him that there was a police officer there.
But do you think if you had some security outside in the parking lot, or even a detail out in the parking lot, when he returned, that could have been...
The detail officer at that particular time was in the parking lot. So I don't know if having security in the parking lot would deter people from acting that way. I'm trying to do the best we can as far as, and I'm very, very strict with my staff as far as, over-serving and stuff like that. And we really, really watch it. And it's unfortunately, someone does slide by here and there.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this trend is it's sort of not a 2 a.m. trend, because one incident happened out of the 20-something or 33 events. It's only one between the 1 and 2. So that issue isn't really a factor. It's the location of these.
Well, I wouldn't say it's not a factor.
According to the trend.
Well, we have two, one at 2 a.m. and one at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I want to hear about what can be done to eliminate those issues.
Well, exactly. That's what I was getting at.
Okay.
So it seems like you handle the situation in your facility pretty good, right? You get the people out. And then in the parking lot, that's where things start happening, correct?
Correct.
So is there a system you can put in place as you're escorting these people out?
Well, I guess that would be a question I could ask the police
Call
department.
the police department while you're escorting them out.
What their recommendation would be if a situation like that does arise and we do remove them from the building, is it going to cause more of an issue if I have, non-police officer security out there?
No, I'm not even saying bring I'm saying when you're escorting them out, you give them a call and say, we're escorting some troubled kids out. You might want to come down. Now the onus is on them. If they come down, they come down.
Well, that's where some of the issues have happened. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
We have called them because of that. We knew that these gentlemen were, going to be trouble. And I don't want to put anybody that works for me in harm.
Yeah.
So I do call the police department.
Okay, so you do that when you're escorting
Absolutely.
someone?
And,
Okay.
and that's why I think the calls to the police department, because I don't want to see someone, physically get hurt or anything like that on our property.
I would just like to say that, of course, everyone knows I voted for the 1 o'clock, the rollback, and I felt it was a good vote. My new colleagues wanted to go with 2 o'clock, and I think it was a good idea. I didn't vote for it again, and I think it was a good idea only because there were very good establishments in our city, never had a problem, and we rolled everyone back to 1 o'clock. And you're saying that, well, maybe we should tell you how to run the business, maybe we should give you ideas. I think that's your responsibility as a license holder, and we have other license holders in the city that have 1,000 or better in their clubs. And so far, since the 2 o'clock license, we have not had one violation throughout the whole city. In your establishment right here, I'm looking at 4. I know we're addressing 3, but there was one back in September, another incident that happened. And so I have to say something's wrong there. If the rest of the city, we haven't heard from one establishment, you've got to look in-house and see what's not going right, because obviously something's not going right. You're not the biggest club in the city, and you're the only one that so far has had problems. And I think it's up to you to take care of your business. So honestly...
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying is, as far as I took the advice from the police department, we have a security company that's been 20 years in the industry that has trained our staff. We've also gone the route of hiring a police detail to added security. My question to the police has always been, what's our responsibility in the parking lot? And the police have always
And
said...
I understand
And the
that.
police have always said to us, contact the police.
I understand that, but let's face it. It stems from the business. It does end up out in your parking lot, and I understand that. But it starts in your business. And I understand. I know things happen out of your control, and how you handle it means a lot to me. On the other side of that, also, I'm concerned for Revere Police Department. They're going to work there. If these incidents are going on, how many police officers do we want to tie up at the Squire on weekends? And that seems to be what the trend is here. They've got to call for backup, and I want them to call for backup.
Correct.
But how much is the city policing your establishment? That's my concern. And again, like I say, you're the only one we've seen so far.
Some of these other establishments that you're saying that haven't had any, I'm not exactly sure that the situations. I'm not even sure if, the places that have 1,000 capacity are even open at this point in time.
Yes, they are.
I don't know those.
Till
But
2 o'clock.
I'm only concerned about and I'm trying to do the
Well, we're
best
looking at an overall. That's why the
Correct.
licenses, there's been this
Correct.
2 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
Correct.
Who thinks what's the best for our city.
And
I agree with my colleagues. I want the business to stay in our city. I don't want to roll back hours and have people leaving.
Absolutely.
But
And-
we needed to do that to see where the problem lies.
And some of the officers that I have spoken to because of these situations that have arisen, if you take a look and speak to some of these, and they'll tell you how strict and diligent we are at the establishment. I mean, we're like I said, we're heavily security. We're very, very, as far as watching people coming in the doors, we do a extremely good job at it. These are some incidents that unfortunately that have arisen, and we're trying to deal with them the best way that we're trained to do it. And then when they go outside, that's unfortunate. We have to call the police.
Mr. DePizer, I'm inclined to roll back the hours to 1 a.m. for 30 days. And the reason, my thought process there is that There's just too many incidents that make me comfortable. And I think that would give you 30 days to come back to us with some type of plan that would address some of our concerns. At this point in time, I just don't have a lot of confidence in that at this point in time. I mean, I recognize there are a lot of things that are out of your control, and I certainly don't want to hurt your establishment by any means, but I also have an obligation to this board, to this city, and I'm just uncomfortable at the moment.
Sure, there was one incident that was after 2 a.m. One of it was at 10 a.m. on a Monday.
It was?
And the actual arrest was at the Stop and Shop parking lot. Okay? The other one was at 1 o'clock when we removed them from the building, and they did get arrested at 1:30.
Okay.
So to blame it on the 2 a.m. license is really not what we're looking at.
I'm not blaming it on the 2 a.m. license, but what would you like me to say? Would you like me to roll you back to 12 o'clock because your incidents took place at 1?
No, but what I'm saying is I'm cooperating with the police.
I understand.
We're doing what we're supposed to do. We've never had a violation. We're handling everything. We're going through security, tips, training, everything that a bar owner, a restaurant owner is supposed to do. We're going above and beyond. And unfortunately, there are incidents.
But you also have a business that would require you to go above and beyond.
Correct, and that's what we're looking to do. And we're 100% doing that. And when we took over ownership from there, we've been working diligently to do that.
I recognize I understand what you're saying. I'm concerned that although you've taken a lot of steps, you haven't taken enough steps.
My concern is that with only one incident being after the 2 o'clock, and instead of rolling us back 30 days, is there a way to have us come back in front of here in the next 30 days to prove that we are doing the right thing, so that it's not determined off of one incident at 2 a.m. You know, obviously we're looking to have a long-term relationship in the city.
Yeah.
We're not looking to, be here and gone. We're trying to run the right establishment.
And we're not looking to hurt any businesses either, but put yourself in our position.
I do understand. I totally understand, and that's why we're doing what we're training people the proper way. We're doing that way. Like I said, we enlisted the police to help us with details so that we could work with the city and do the right thing.
How many security do you have in the building?
On a particular night. So
let's say Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay, Wednesday through Sunday we have at least 5, and sometimes 6, plus myself.
And when it starts becoming 12:30, 1 o'clock, 2 of them can't be out in the parking lot? Wouldn't that help out?
There's nothing going on in the parking lot. You have I don't know what that would deter having 2 being in the parking lot. I mean, we have them at the front door. Our parking lot goes around the corner and in the back. I most certainly could put on another security or 2 and put them outside and see if that helps the situation, and work with the police as far as what their recommendation is.
Well, I think sometimes just a presence, someone
Absolutely.
being there, makes a change. And you talk about the gas station. I see that. I think we all know the area very well. Why not put a fence up at your line?
I don't know. When we took over the building 2 years ago, we don't actually own the building. The Fiumara family still owns it. That curb cut was there and everything. I don't know anything about the legalities as far as if it's a city easement or what it is. It's that set of lights right at our place. Everyone comes through and goes that way.
I understand what you're saying. They come through Washington.
I mean, I'd be more than happy to put up a barrier, but I don't know. I would have to go in front of the city to see if that is actually my right, because I don't want. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of cars. Like right now, there's cars just passing through. We're not even open.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So these are some things you probably should look at. And
Absolutely.
you're saying that they're you know, and like
I
I
would,
say,
I would welcome that and never have someone cut through the parking lot like that.
What if you were to add a second police detail, one out in the parking lot?
I would absolutely take that under
All
advisement.
right, so let me, so,
I'm looking so that doesn't escalate. I mean, I understand the
oh,
situation.
I'm
I mean,
sure
I don't want to operate
I'm not
a business like
suggesting
that.
otherwise.
I don't want it to become the old Squire, you know,
And that's the-
and I understand where you're coming from, and that's what we're trying to deter, and that's why we're going through all the measures to do the right thing.
All right, I'm going to make a motion here to have you put a plan together for 30 days and come back before us.
Okay.
Before we vote on
Okay.
on ours.
I do appreciate that.
Is there a second on the table?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, you've got 30 days.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Two communications, communication dated 9/17/2013 from Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, a notice of an 8-day suspension for P&M Liquors LLC, doing business as State Road Liquors and Food Mart. Said suspension to commence on Wednesday, November 6, 2013, and terminate on Wednesday, November 13, 2013. Violation date was June 8, 2013, hearing date September 17th. Said communication was superseded by communication number 2. Communication number 2 dated 10/3/13 from Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission. A notice of accepted offer and compromise for P&M Liquors LLC, doing business as State Road Liquors and Food Mart. Said compromise in the amount of $2,089.76, resulting in their suspension being rescinded. The following licenses are up for approval for 2014. Lodging House, I'm going to take them all and we'll just take one vote. R&R Shirley Realty, 194 Shirley Avenue. Parking lot, Alphonse D'Amico, doing business as Seaside Parking Lot, 646 to 660 Ocean Avenue. Class 2 Auto Dealers, Mass Auto Sales, Inc., 1027 Broadway. Metropolitan Acceptance Corp., 1605 North Shore Road. Commonwealth Auto Sales, 335 Lee Burbank Highway. Espo Enterprises, Inc., 22 Rio Whitten Avenue Extension. Pool tables, Cinco de Mayo 2, doing business as Pancho Villa Mexican Grill, 124 Centennial Avenue, 2 tables. Common victuals license, Hess Corp., doing business as Hess 21212, 630 Squire Road. Hess Corp., doing business as Hess 21333, 41 Lee Burbank Highway. Demaria Inc., doing business as Honeydew 304 Squire Road. Demaria Inc., doing business as Honeydew 520 Broadway. Thmorta Restaurant, 144 Shirley Ave. Salvatore's Ice Cream Inc., doing business as Toretta's Bakery, 642 Winthrop Avenue. BJ's Wholesale Club Inc., doing business as BJ's Wholesale Club, 175 5 Ward Street. Courtyard Donuts Inc., doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 555 North Shore Road. Courtyard Donuts Inc., doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 90 American Legion Highway. Trifecta Donuts LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 41 Lee Burbank Highway. RMG Donuts LLC, DBA Dunkin' Donuts, 1 Bennington Street. Prezioso's Enterprises Inc., doing business as Vinny's Food Market, 296 Malden Street. Baller and Boss Roast Beef, 325 Bennett Highway. New Deal Fruit Inc., 920 Broadway. Oak Grove Market, 158 Shirley Avenue. Shirley Avenue Enterprises, doing business as Super Convenience Store, 136 Shirley Avenue. Tedeschi's Food Shop, 140 Beach Street. 7-Eleven Food Stores, doing business as 7-Eleven, number 27471, 1120 North Shore Road. Mezzan Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Quick Food Store, 307 Revere Street. KNC Management Enterprises, Inc., doing business as IHOP Revere, 105 Squire Road. Kelly's Roast Beef, Inc., 410 Revere Beach Boulevard. Justin Donuts, Inc., doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 345 Frank Bennett Highway. All-in-one convenience store, 315 Park Avenue. Mahiva Enterprises, doing business as Convenient Mart and Deli, 270 Broadway. Krishna Enterprises, Inc., doing business as One Stop Convenience Store, 345 Revere Street. Sunoco, Inc., doing business as Sunoco, 7526 1781 North Shore Road. Sunoco, Inc., doing business as Sunoco, 7695 1030 Broadway. Stop and Shop Supermarket Company, LLC, doing business as Stop and Shop Supermarket, number 1140 Furlong Drive. Stop and Shop Supermarket, LLC, doing business as Stop and Shop Supermarket, number 43, 540 Squire Road. Joel Enterprises, doing business as Domino's Pizza, 570 Broadway. Flea Market, International Recreational Industries, Inc., doing business as Revere Swap and Shop, 565 Squire Road. Entertainment, NIA Entertainment Holdings, LLC, doing business as Showcase Cinema, Revere, 565 Squire Road, 20 movie screens. Tedeschi's Food Shops, Inc., doing business as Tedeschi's, 191 to 193 Shirley Avenue, and Tedeschi's Food Shop, doing business as Tedeschi's Food Shop, 72 Squire Road. BJ's Wholesale Club, Inc., doing business as BJ's Wholesale Club, 175 at 5 Ward Street. RMG Donuts, LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 1 Bennington Street. Gold and Silver Precious Metals and Jewelry Sales, Toby Jewelers, 150 Shirley Avenue. Jewelry Box, Inc., 345 Broadway. Secondhand Dealers, Jewelry Box, Inc., 345 Broadway. AC's Card and Games, 348 Revere Street. Pawnbrokers, Jewelry Box, Inc., 345 Broadway. Suffolk Pawn, 335 Lee Burbank Highway. Automatic Amusement Devices, the Boulevard Bar and Grill, Inc., doing business as the Boulevard Bar and Grill, 320 Revere Beach Boulevard, 3 machines. The Sons of Revere, LLC, doing business as the Sons of Revere, 8 Revere Street, 5 machines.
Did you miss this one?
No,
Five names.
no, we got those.
You got it?
Yep.
I'd like to take all of them except the amusements go out of the court.
Okay.
Okay, and what about Woody's? I'd like to hold those all.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Okay, so there's I'll put a motion on the table to approve everything but the automatic amusements due to a court order. And what was the other one?
Woody's Liquor, I don't know which one, do it, the common ritual there.
Yeah, okay. So we'll hold those. So there's a motion on the table to approve all of those licenses. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 The following licenses will not be approved due to taxes being owed to the city, and that is Kenneth G. LaFosse, doing business as Brothers Auto Body, 19 Naples Road. 5 and Famous Brothers DBA Dairy Mart Liquors, 160 Squire Road. Enterprise Liquor Store, Inc., doing business as Woody's Liquors, 266 Broadway. Entertainment, 5 and Famous Brothers, doing business as Dairy Mart Liquors, 160 Squire Road. I'll make a the next meeting will be Wednesday, November 20th. I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Is there a second to that motion?
Second motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is now closed.